Happy February 18th. Um, this has been an interesting month or whatever. Eventful, however you want to say that. My mom almost died to COVID. My father insists she not get vaccinated, so even after ending up in the hospital and them saying if it had been even a couple more days she would have died, he's like no to her getting vaccinated. Um, he's apparently been treating her somewhat nicer, which is something, but I told him off. I have hardly spoken to my father, but I needed to clear the air a little bit and find out if he even cared about her, because he definitely was not acting like it. Apparently, he was just super depressed and um, oblivious. My mom says that he's been doing a lot better and that he's been a lot nicer to her, but I still don't get it. I still don't get how you could risk someone's life like that. I mean, I don't risk my wife's life. It doesn't make sense to me. When you marry someone and you say in sickness and in health, when you say you want to be, there for them, you're making like a promise. And my father, like, he's very conservative. He's very traditional. The man is the head of the household, and the woman, is submissive to the husband, and, very old thoughts, misogynistic thoughts. And the thing is he didn't even do that by his own standards of the man protects the family and leads the family, keeps them safe, is there, to take care of and protect his wife, when she's, in danger. Like, he didn't step up at all. He was not acting like a man or Mr. Traditional husband role or whatever at all. My mom would be dead except my baby brother took her to the hospital. Because my father didn't do it. It wasn't my father. And my mom is not my birth mother. My mom, you know, I miss my mom. Um, we were supposed to go down to my sister's because my parents are now at my sister's house and my spouse is sick. And I haven't been taking her anywhere. I mean, anywhere. The only place I took her was physical therapy. And she still somehow got sick. And I was going to risk it going down there, even though they're not vaccinated, and just have my wife social distance to see my mom. Because who wouldn't want to see their mom when she almost died? It's frustrating because I try so hard to protect my spouse's health, and I can't imagine what is going through his head that he wouldn't protect his spouse's health. That he literally is this blind about it. And it really, really upsets me. I don't know how to come to terms with it. I'm less angry. I was angry, but I'm more just. I'm very ashamed, and I used to be really, you know, proud of how strong my father was and how important family was to him and how hard he worked to take care of us all. And I used to be like full of respect for him, and I just I don't know how a person gets lower than my father currently is. Like, he used to tell me if he ever started acting like my birth mother to take him in a field and shoot him in the head because he would rather die than be crazy like her. And the whole QAnon conspiracy theory lane, conservative GOP Trumpanizing whateverness, he's acting like her. He's acting irrational, and it's to the point of causing detrimental harm to people around him, and he doesn't see it, and he's completely oblivious to it. And I'm obviously not going to take my father into a field and shoot him in the head. I don't even own a gun, but like, it's funny that that was like his biggest. Don't ever let that happen. I that and Alzheimer's. Those were his two big. I don't ever want that to happen to me. I would rather just die than that happen. And he's starting to act like my birth mother, and I don't get it. I don't know how to reconcile fully about it, because my mom is a pushover. She has a choice in the matter, and she is very easily influenced by people around her, and my dad is the one around her the most, so he influences her the most, and she just does whatever he wants. She does whatever to keep peace. She does whatever to take care of people and try to have them be as happy as possible. She's always been Miss Hospitality, Miss Warmth, Miss Wholesomeness, whatever you want to call that. Um, but too far of a degree, especially with my father. And on the one hand, when I asked him if he even cared, he said yes. My mom is the love of his life because she's the one who makes him feel like he's important, and no one else makes him feel that way. That he is special to them in the same way that my mom does. That's good. That's good that he feels that way. But when someone is the love of your life, you protect them, and he doesn't protect her, and I don't get it. I don't get how he thinks he could possibly even remotely be a good husband. But I've argued with him about it. I've even yelled at him about it. Um, and we've come to a place of something. I wouldn't say it's like fully air cleared, but it's better than it was. I at least understand a little better instead of it being outright like horrifying. When you're in a deep dark depression, you have like this lethargy that comes over everything, and everything is like from this lens of like this fog, and it's like you've got glasses on and they're dark or something, and you can't fully perceive things and stuff. And if he was in a big despair, depression and stuff, my mom said he was sleeping all the time. He wasn't feeling good either, that he was really depressed. And I asked him why he was depressed, and he said, he waited years and years and years to be able to retire so he could get his robot feet, and he's been struggling to walk his whole life ever since he was in a plane crash when he was in his early 20s. And he got his surgeries, and he thought, I'll finally be able to run again. I'll finally be able to play a sport. I'll finally be able to, do stuff. And instead, he can walk. And it's not even that great of a walk. And he's very frustrated by that, and felt like he, waited all that time and got the surgeries and it was in vain. And I can understand how that would be super depressing. I can understand going into a depression about that and feeling that way. I mean, if I go through my surgeries and nothing changes, I would be in the same kind of a depression. So I understand that very clearly. And I do know depression makes you stupid sometimes. But he didn't even notice that she was dying, and that really, really is hard for me, because even at my darkest times, I've still been aware of my spouse and if she was sick. And so it's really hard for me. But I do accept that it wasn't, you know, a lack of caring about her, and that it wasn't like heartless, or that he is just like, Murica, die for the cause or something, you know, something truly horrific. Um, she said that he's been much kinder to her than he's been in like a decade lately and stuff. So I think it definitely rocked his world that she almost died. Apparently, he went into a depression about that too, that she almost died. But then he popped out of it and started trying to be kinder to her and take care of her better and stuff. But still won't let her get vaccinated. And you can get it every 16 weeks. And COVID-19 like has wreaked havoc in my spouse's family. Her sister has permanent brain damage. Her mom has permanent lung damage. Her mom now is just passing out randomly, just literally can't stay awake. And it's like her dad is seeing neurologists and neuropsychologists. He might have some sort of damage. Like, and the problem is the first time they got COVID, they weren't vaccinated, and then they got vaccinated, and now when they got COVID again, they got over it pretty decent, but it seems to have, and the vaccine thankfully made their symptoms less, thankfully, but it seems to have been that because of the first time, that damage seems to be permanent, and it doesn't matter that they're vaccinated going forward because they weren't vaccinated the first time. They're trapped like that. And it's so frustrating because they just came out with that 73% of the country is vaccinated, is actually, you know, trying to be vaccinated and doing vaccine protocols and stuff. Hopefully, um, in like 4 days, or on the fourth or whatever it is, surgeries are going to start opening up in our state again, and they can start getting the backlog hopefully taken care of some, so that people who are waiting to even start, like me, can finally start. Um, that would be awesome. But what's frustrating is the people who are still so completely against it, even when the information's out there, even when millions of people have taken it. They said some people I've known said they wanted to wait until other people took it and it had been around for a little while before they would accept that it was safe, because they didn't want to rush into something that didn't get studied as much as they felt it should. And what's your excuse now? It's been long enough. I don't get it. I know my father isn't doing it for that. My father is purely political reasons. And risking your life for political mumbo jumbo and risking your family's life for political mumbo jumbo doesn't make sense to me at all. It just doesn't. And it's people like my father that are keeping people who are waiting for surgeries from being able to have them. It's people like my father who are not taking vaccines and leaving the vaccines completely off the table, not even an option, that are clogging up the hospitals and making it so people who have other emergencies can't even go. It's people like my father who are keeping base COVID running around and allowing more variants to develop. And that's really hard. That's really, really hard, because I can't say, oh, some random person out there, please do better. I can't even convince my own father to do better. I don't I don't understand his being against a vaccine because we've all been vaccinated. We were vaccinated as kids. We've been vaccinated our whole lives. You have to get vaccinated to go to certain other countries for certain other things. You have to get vaccinated for like going to school or going to jobs. Like I had to get vaccinated up the wazoo when I was in NAR. Like when you're in the military, you get every vaccine under the book. Like they pump you all full of stuff. And it's just like a very common thing that's been part of our society for a very long time. And he acts like it's somehow some new crazy thing. And I don't understand it. Him being against me being trans and him having a problem with me being born intersex, he grew up in such a way that I understand why that's difficult for him, as much as I don't agree with it, and as much as it hurts my feelings and makes having any kind of relationship with him difficult. I do understand where it comes from. Like I understand being raised in a dogmatic way, being groomed to grow up to be a certain kind of adult. You know, I understand that very, very much. So his struggles with accepting, you know, that about me and that struggle, I understand it, even though I don't agree with it. Even though it's not fair. I didn't get to choose how I was born. I didn't get to pick when I got popped into the world. I didn't have a say in the matter. I only have a say in the matter now because technology has moved forward some enough to help me not have horrible health issues because of being born intersex. And I was developing horrible health issues. And I'm doing somewhat a little better now. And that's not a good enough reason for him to throw away, 60 years plus of dogma. And it's been ingrained in him since he was a tiny child. And I understand that. I get when stuff's ingrained in you since you were a tiny child. And that's not me making an excuse for him because, again, it still puts a ton of strain on things. But I'm not angry at him about it at all. Like, it's more hurtful than anything. It's not something I feel. I don't feel the same way about it as him not letting mom get vaccinated. There's no real basis for that. Like, he got vaccinated when he was a kid. It's not like it's been ingrained in him since he was a tiny child that vaccines are evil. It's just, it's leaping to something, even if it's hypocritical, even if it's not actually something you ever believed before, simply because other people are saying it. And it's not even everyone is saying it. It's just other people that you want to like you. So you go along with what they're doing. It's like literally middle school peer pressure, except for QAnon conspiracy. It's nuts to me. It's absolutely mind-boggling to me, and it's childish, and it's not got any kind of firm foundation. It's literally just fear mongering and people taking advantage of fear mongering. And my father buys into it really hard. So hard that he would risk his wife dying. And I have no respect for that. I wish I could see my mom. I mean, if anyone's mom almost died, they would want to see her too. But I don't want my wife to die for me to see my mom. And if she's already feeling sick, her immune system's already even weaker than it usually is, which it's usually always pretty weak in the first place, and I can't take the risk. Um, So as much as I want to see my mom, too bad, so sad. I even like cut my hair and trimmed my beard and stuff, trying to, you know, look nice for my mommy. We were supposed to go tomorrow, but my spouse is sick, and I shouldn't spread sickness to other people anyway. Even besides that, my spouse gets sick so easily, but as much as I don't want anyone else to catch a cold, it's also I can't risk my spouse. I'm not my father. I'm not willing to risk my spouse. I have no idea when surgery is going to happen, and that's very upsetting for me. My girlfriend thinks that I should just start looking for consults for bottom surgery and start doing that at the same time as I'm waiting for top surgery, even though I've done everything for top surgery and it's just a case of it happening. And maybe somehow they don't interfere with each other. I'm like, if I make a consult or something for a bottom surgery, which I don't even know if I can do, but if I did that and say it's for a year from now, well, what if my top surgery is not for a year from now? Or I'm recovering from my top surgery a year from now. Well, then I have to reschedule and it'll be another year. And it's just so frustrating. I look at these other trans guys who transitioned before the pandemic and stuff, and they were stuff like the ones who knew they wanted surgery, you know? It's ridiculous how much less time it took. And now it's such massive waiting lists and stuff. Like there's this one trans guy I watch, and he started testosterone 8 years ago. He got top surgery within a year, or just after a year, like right after a year of being on testosterone, and he got bottom surgery uh, in his third year after starting testosterone, completely done. Like all surgeries done by the third year. Saw another guy, it was by the fifth year. Saw another guy, he was done with everything, completely done, all surgeries and stuff, by 3.5, 4 years. And I look at all of these things, and I'm I'm like, I'm just hoping for before 45. Like I'm hoping so desperately for before 45. And that's being optimistic. And that's difficult for me. It's really, really difficult for me. But it's a pandemic, and people are being stupid about it and dumb about it and risking their own families about it. So, like hell, they're going to care about elective surgeries. So I'm just stuck. I'm just trapped. On the plus side, well, sort of, the Social Security Administration, at least, you know, in part in certain locations, is open to appointments now. They're also accepting different types of documents in the mail now. So my name change options have possibly opened up. My local one seems to have been open for appointments for name change, except I can't get through. The girlfriend and me both been trying to call, and it just does not go through to the office. So I figure I'm just gonna call every day, and eventually someday someone's gonna pick up the phone and let me make an appointment. Um, that would be nice, but my name change might actually finally get finished, which would be huge, like so huge. And of course, it's been almost a year since my court order finished, like literally almost a year. Next month it will be a year. And it's like, good grief. But again, how can they open stuff up when people are being dumb about the pandemic? They don't want to risk their families dying because other people don't care. Don't care who dies. Don't care if they send someone to the hospital. I found out that my aunt, that I respect the most out of all of my relatives, because she was kind when we were younger, she knew she had been exposed to COVID 19 and willfully chose to travel knowing that she was exposed and travel to a family vacation, and everyone at the family vacation got sick. Who knows how many people who encountered her got sick? And she knew. That's like my mother driving across the country, getting my baby sister sick with COVID, getting her best friend sick with COVID, and not caring. Literally shrugging it off and not caring how many people she could have sent to the hospital. I don't understand that. Like me, the thought of having blood on my hands when I could have prevented it, when I could have done anything that even had a chance of preventing it is mind boggling to me. Absolutely mind boggling to me. And people who think they're so righteous and they're so good and they're going to heaven are really effing things up for people and causing harm and causing families to struggle and grieve and worry. I mean, we're in a freaking housing crisis. Everything is bad. Inflation is an insanely high rate. And people still refuse, like 30% refuse to even treat the pandemic like it's real. And it's just like beyond me. What's wrong? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I shouldn't have had to wait this long to get my name change finalized if I can get through, you know. I shouldn't have had to wait this long. Just because people are being jerks. Like, people shouldn't be having to wait to have surgeries just because people are being jerks. Not even just trans people, people with cancer, people with, like, pain, horrible pain because they need stuff removed. Can't get their surgeries because people are jerks and don't give a crap about the suffering of other human beings. Somehow, as a nation, the United States has a serious empathy issue, like a really massive empathy problem. And it's hilarious because the number one people who are the least caring toward other people are the people who think that they're so righteous and going to heaven. It's super ironic to me. I haven't had any other physical changes with my transition. It's just waiting for surgeries and hopefully this name change thing working out. Um, I really, really am trying to get an appointment. So, um, at least it's finally a possibility. And even if for some reason I can't get an appointment, um, they do have appointments for dropping paperwork off, so at least it's not always in the mail. And again, they're accepting other types of documents depending on what your name change document says. So if I can just find out the specifics of what I am needing to do and actually get my local office to pick up the phone, um, hopefully this can get done. And finally, finally, people can stop calling me the wrong thing, and I can get it off my banking information. I can get it off my social security information. I can stop having two different names on my legal paperworks and documents, fix my driver's license, and yeah, that would be nice. Um, that would be extremely nice. That would help me mentally, that would help me socially, that would help me legally and on papers, and, you know, doing like a job and having taxes actually be able to be filed, because it will be a very big thing. I'm hoping the next one will be like, yay, I got my appointment for my name change. Um, Even if it's like, for a month from now, just having the appointment would be something. Even if it's for 2 months from now, just having it would be something. So hopefully my next one that I make, my next video will be that. That would be positive instead of all of this struggle. I don't like feeling trapped. I really don't. I think I'm grieving. I think part of me is grieving the death of the image that I used to have of my father. And I think I'm in a constant state of grieving for every, month that passes that I'm still trapped. And the people who are supposed to care about me the most are part of the people who are making it so hard for me. They're some of the people who care the least. Your parents are supposed to be the people who are there for you. And I have unfortunately learned from a pretty young age that I had to be there for myself. So I don't know why it still hurts. But you always wish your parents and you could work it out. You always wish that. It doesn't ever go away. No matter how much you don't agree with them, no matter how much you accept them being part of your day-to-day life would be toxic, all that stuff. It doesn't matter how much you accept it. It doesn't stop hurting. I wasn't looking forward to seeing my father. I was basically going to say happy birthday, hi, hey, we made you a pineapple upside down cake because I know you like them. That was pretty much all I was going to do. Um, Bring him a birthday present. But I was going to go outside and hug my mom. And then I was going to wash my hands afterwards and not touch my spouse until, germs had a chance to die. But I was going to hug my mom. I was going to talk with my mom and laugh with my mom. But you can't control illness. I literally did not take my spouse to anything. Every appointment was virtual or a phone call, everything except her physical therapy. And it was just one physical therapy. Her next session isn't until a month from now. And it's still, somehow, she's sick. Because she just gets sick so easy. I was going to call today my siblings and make sure everyone was feeling healthy, that my brother's kids were feeling healthy, no coughs, no nothing. And I was going to go hug my mom. I haven't seen her in a couple of years. She has seen pictures and we've Skyped and stuff, video chatted, but it's not the same as being in person. And I don't know, I was gonna let her touch my beard or, you know, get a sense that I'm still me, even though, you know, I've embraced my maleness, my masculinity. You know, it's like, I don't know, I think sometimes she's sad because we were always very close. Well, okay, we weren't always very close. When I was a teenager, we were not very close. I was very messed up, and she managed to work through that. But we've always been very close ever since I was an adult, and I feel like sometimes she's sad that maybe that relationship is the same or something. And I thought if she saw me in person, she would know that for me at least, nothing's changed as far as that. I know she still loves me to pieces, um, but I can hear it every once in a while in her voice that she's not talking to me quite the same. And it's like a I don't know. She had a way of being like, oh, you know, sometimes girls when they talk with each other, like, oh, hey, girl, or something like that, and it's that slightly different way of talking to each other or whatever. And I just obviously was very impacted by her almost dying, and would really like to see her. My girlfriend offered for her to stay here and for me to just go by myself, but I don't think that that's right to do. So I'm not doing that. I'm sure another opportunity will come up to see my mom. I'm gonna try very hard to make it happen. It's just my father intentionally goes out of his way to misgender me and to call me the wrong thing and to express his disappointment in me. And it'd be a lot less difficult if I was around my siblings and stuff and they do correctly gender me and they do call me the right name and they do actually try. And having that kind of support, because I have not seen my father since um, almost like 3.5 years, more than 3.5 years actually. So it's been a while, and we've talked on the phone, we've video chatted a couple of times, but we have not been talking really that much. And he pretty much makes clear every single time that we do talk how much he thinks I have bought into it, into a big agenda to corrupt me. And subjecting myself to someone intentionally being cruel seems less bad if you have a whole group of supportive people around you. But can't control illness. It is what it is. I feel like my father is like in this half disowning thing where it's like I don't think of you as being fully alive. Part of you has died to me, but you could come back to life if you'll stop this nonsense. Kind of an attitude that I get from him, and it's not nonsense. It's literally me just trying to exist. I don't know. I think it's hard for him to even accept that intersex people are born, let alone that I am one. Like, I think he genuinely thinks there's only boys and girls, and that it's impossible for a baby to be born with characteristics from both sexes. And that's scientifically and medically completely uh, verifiable, but um, he thinks all medicine is big pharma. So, but the thing is even in other countries where there is universal health care and there is no big pharma, they all still can verify that, and he still doesn't accept it. So, he he is just very dead set and old thinking. Anyway, that's my spouse's neurologist. I was going to talk about one more thing, but I gotta go.